Now get ready. Here we go.
What is going on, everybody? It is Arkham here, and we have a tier list video for you guys today. We haven't done one of these in a little bit, so I figured we'd do a tier list video based on the dry parks that the new Six Flags Entertainment Corporation has in their possession and what parks they might sell off. Very recently, we actually got some updates that all 42 parks, including the water parks, have had their sort of big checks happen across their chain to see if they have been answering the call and providing the some profits or building money, whatever business terms. But at the end of the day, some parks have been doing better than others, and others have not performed up to their expectations. And it's very possible that some of these parks could get sold off or entirely taken out of the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation and itself. So I figured that for today, as I don't follow water parks really at all, and I stick to mainly to dry parks, I would throw all the dry parks that are a part of the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation into a tier list based on where I think they lie in terms of whether they are safe, whether I'm not sure what they'll do, whether it is very likely that they'll go away, or they're already gone. And in one instance, we already know that one of these parks is basically all but confirmed to be going away, and that is California's Great America, as the property that the park is now on isn't technically theirs anymore, and they have a set time when they have to get everything out of that park. So, as I've already gone through the tiers, pretty short or very straightforward. Again, safe means I don't think they're going to go anywhere anytime soon. They're going to perform up to expectations. On the fence, I'm not too sure about. There could be a very weird scenario, but I feel like these parks are still going to be fine, but they could be ones to be careful of. Very likely means that these parks could be a part of the sort of chain that gets sold to another chain, or they're already gone. No other park will go in the already gone tier except for California's Great America, as I've already explained earlier. Now, without further ado, let's get into the tier list itself, and we are kicking it off. We're going from the left side to the right side of North America, kicking it off with Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Now, this park is very interesting because this park is actually very close to California's Great America, which technically could mean that a lot of California Great America's rides could get transferred over to Discovery Kingdom. How awesome would it be if Railblazer in the next 5-10 years were to magically show up at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom? I'm telling you right now, people would go to Discovery Kingdom. And even though Discovery Kingdom has the 150-foot height restriction, a RMC Raptor fits so well in their lineup, even though Six Flags doesn't really could care less about these RMC Raptors in all seriousness. But I'm telling you, that sort of a roller coaster is a literal perfect fit for a park that has those sort of restrictions. So with that being said, and because of the possibility that a lot of the rides from here could easily get transferred over to Discovery Kingdom, I have to put it in the safe category. And it's also in a pretty solid spot in California, where you have one park in North California, and then you have stuff like Knott's and Magic Mountain that has to compete with stuff like Disneyland and Universal Hollywood, especially now that Universal Hollywood is getting Hollywood Drift, and then Disneyland is getting all these crazy investments with like Avatar Land and this expansion to their Avengers campus. So speaking of Magic Mountain and Knott's Berry Farm, they are the next two on the list. Magic Mountain is an easy safe because they're getting a roller coaster in 2026. So clearly they want to invest in Magic Mountain in some sort of capacity. It makes sense. And Knott's is a cash cow. Knott's was one of, if not the biggest cash cows for Cedar Fair as a whole. The location of it just helps it all that much. They get some really good crowds every single day. They always are just on top of it. Knott's Berry Farm has been one of the most successful Cedar Fair run parks, and they've been doing so well. And let's talk about another park that's also been doing very, very well. Six Flags Mexico has been doing very, very well. The only reason that I'm going to put it in the on the fence category is because of its location. And also because as the tilt coaster was originally meant to go to Mexico, they've had their restrictions. I almost wonder if Six Flags in itself kind of has a little bit of more issues with how they wanted to stretch out Six Flags Mexico, because I think Six Flags Mexico honestly has some really strong potential. But now that the government over there is kind of being iffy about what they have to do. Like they couldn't even build the tilt coaster if they had to take out one singular tree. So I wonder if those restrictions are going to kind of pull Six Flags back from adding investment to this park, which could in turn lead to it getting sold off. But that probably won't be for a while. But I think the fact that there is a Six Flags in Mexico is what's going to hold them back from doing this. So I'm going to keep it in the on the fence category. Fiesta Texas, they're getting crazy investment. They just had 3 rides added to their DC Universe, which is now the biggest DC Universe land, I'm pretty sure, in the world. At least in the Six Flags chain, it's definitely the biggest. And supposedly their next edition in 2027 is going to be massive as well. There's no stopping Six Flags Fiesta Texas. This has been a park that has been constantly on the rise since God knows when. They've been getting so much investment. They've been doing retheme after retheme after retheme. Fiesta Texas is probably the closest park right now to falling in line to what Cedar Fair operates. So I feel like even though Fiesta Texas is going to continue to get these massive additions, I feel like they don't have to work as hard, say, for like the other parks, like our next one, Six Flags Over Texas. I don't know why the Over Texas park got cut off, but Over Texas is getting a Giga Dive Coaster, 309 feet tall. It's going to be the tallest B&M dive coaster out there. Holy crap. That's going to be crazy. But I have to wait until 2026 for that. But that doesn't matter. Six Flags Over Texas is getting investment. They lost Lava Bora. They lost their Super Loop, but nobody cares about the Super Loop. And this is all going to pave way for this super humongous roller coaster that could go over the driveway entrance parking thing. It could literally... there's so much potential with it. But the fact of the matter is, when you have a crazy investment like that could easily turn out to be the best coaster of 2026, you have to give it the props. And obviously, they have plans for Six Flags Over Texas, so you have to keep it in the safe category. This is going to be our first very likely. It's Frontier City. Even though Oklahoma City is a rather good location to have a park, Frontier City has just not been getting that respect. Diamondback, I don't even think has been running. I haven't even been keeping up with that coaster, so I don't really know what's going on with it. They've had other rides as well. I know they got like a Sky Screamer like a couple years ago, but outside that, like Frontier City has not been getting a lot of attention. Yes, it's a smaller park. Yes, the location is good, but it just hasn't been getting enough attention for me. And since Six Flags had bought the property back, it's very easy for them to just remove themselves from that property yet again, which is very possible to occur. Worlds of Fun is a park that definitely needs work, but I think it's going to be fine. I think that the biggest saving grace for Worlds of Fun has been Oceans of Fun, which has been their water park for the longest time ever. You'll notice that any park on here that has a water park attached to it is basically almost guaranteed to be safe, because a lot of money, especially over the summer, is going to go towards the water park as much as it does the dry park. Worlds of Fun also got Zambezi Zinger recently. So, again, even though Worlds of Fun is not the biggest park in the chain, it's still getting the proper investments from visitors that it deserves and needs to get. Valley Fair has kind of been on the off. They are very much due for a new roller coaster. And I think they soon could have that as soon as 2027. 2026, they probably will not have that. But 2027 could be their year to get a roller coaster. Again, I don't think I'm going to put it in the on the fence category, but I think the history that Valley Fair has with Cedar Fair in itself, it warrants it to be into the safe category. I personally really like what Valley Fair seems to go off of as a park. I think a couple more flats and then of course, another roller coaster is what Valley Fair really needs. But again, this is a park that also has the space to do that. So they could easily make this their next like Carowinds project if they really want to build this park up. I could see that very much happening. So this is Six Flags Great America. I know it's super blurry. This is the easiest safe in the world. Another Six Flags property that has been constantly building themselves up like crazy. X-Flight, then Goliath, then Max Force. Now they get Wrath of Rakshasha. This is a park that has been getting constant investment on the throwing side. They're retracking American Eagle, they're retracking Viper this offseason, and this is a park that has been on my radar to visit for quite some time. Wrath of Rakshasha just adds more to pit to the fire to do that, because Six Flags Great America actually looks like a legit top 5 Six Flags Entertainment Corporation park, because it actually has been constantly on the rise. It's always been like the little stepbrother to Six Flags Great Adventure, but this is a park that I feel like finally can say is reaching the upper echelon in terms of just legacy Six Flags parks. This could be like the number 2 overall Six Flags park if you really want to make that argument. Definitely, I would say top 3 now. St. Louis, great location, but because of the lack of investments, I have to put it in the on the fence category. The thing that will save St. Louis from the on the fence category is really simple, but I know they're not going to do this, and that's RMC Boss. As soon as Six Flags St. Louis pulls the trigger and says, screw it, we're going to RMC Boss, I'm telling you the attendance in this park is going to blast through the roof. If the Mr. Freeze clones across over Texas and St. Louis end up actually getting removed at the end of the 2025 season, that's going to be a big issue, because from what a lot of people have said, Mr. Freeze at St. Louis anyway is like the standout attraction there and is considered the best roller coaster there. So that's going to be a very tough loss if that so happens to be the case, which it very well honestly could. So the best way to make it up would be to RMC Boss. Obviously, they don't have anything in the itinerary right now for St. Louis for 2026 as of yet, but who knows, down the line, something could happen. Michigan's Adventure, I'm also going to put there just for the lack of investment. I think it's going to be safe anyway because Michigan, but I'm just going to put it in the on the fence because of the lack of investments. The sole thing that is saving Michigan's Adventure's rear is Shivering Timbers. If Shivering Timbers goes away, then you might as well say goodbye to Michigan's Adventure. People still go to Michigan's Adventure. It's definitely a more family-friendly oriented park, but the doozies like me would go to Michigan's Adventure just to absolutely cycle through Shivering Timbers if it's open the entire time. And of course, get the credits because I've never been there. Cedar Point, guys, is already gone. I mean, come on. They're not going to keep this park around. No, I'm kidding. Cedar Point is the ultimate cash cow of this business. It's the ultimate cash cow. Like, there's no reason that they should ever try to sell Cedar Point over the next 1,000 years. Cedar Point has been the driving force for Legacy Cedar Fair. It will continue to be that. Cedar Point's also getting Siren's Curse in 2025, which is already going to boost attendance even more because it is a tilt coaster. And as of right now, Kodoin is winning the tilt coaster race, so I'm hoping Cedar Point can kind of catch up on Siren's Curse a little bit. Kings Island is also safe. Yeah, both of these parks are in Ohio, but who cares? Both of these parks are really, really good. Some people have even said that Kings Island is better than Cedar Point, even though Kings Island needs to desperately replace what Vortex used to stand on, but that's besides the point. Kings Island, fantastic coaster lineup. Another park that was really built up from the ground and is continuing to get development. It looks like Action Zone is going to be their targeted spot to look at for the next couple of years, because they're already getting rid of Extreme Skyflyer, if I'm not mistaken, from that property. So they could also be getting rid of Invertigo by next season. Maybe the Drop Tower goes, and then you have this crazy Premier Rides launch coaster or something that they could add, because I'm 90% sure that Alpine Fury is going to be a massive hit for Canada's Wonderland. So Kings Island could definitely use one of those kind of coasters. And then you could focus on Vortex afterwards, unless that's where their designated roller coaster that they're getting in 2026, their family coaster, is going to end up going. Over Georgia is also going to be safe. They really need to change the location of their front entrance. I hate that it's literally just off of a main road, which is kind of disgusting. But that's probably something that I can honestly see them doing under this new merger. They could easily just change the location of where you enter the park for Six Flags Over Georgia, and then that changes everything. It really does. And they have that possibility to do that as well. So we'll see what happens with this one. I think it's safe. The location's pretty good. It's not too far from Carowinds, and it's in a good location. Georgia usually has a good population. And speaking of Carowinds, of course it's safe. This is a park that they have really built up very, very well. They built this up to be the Cedar Point of the South, and they have kind of done that. They got Fury. They got Copperhead Strike. They're getting this absolutely insane looking water ride in 2026 if what the permits say they are legit. Like, Carowinds getting that water ride in that plot of the rapids could be a crazy good ride. So I'm really looking forward to what Carowinds gets. And yes, they desperately need water rides, and they're getting one. I'm really looking forward to see how this one goes. King's Dominion is opening Rapterra in 2025. So they don't have to worry. They're safe. They are definitely safe. I know there's like a thing going around that they're like, that Roswell is like trying to buy out some other land around King's Dominion. So I was almost tempted to put it in the on the fence category, but King's Dominion is going to be just fine. Dorney is a very weird one because of competition with Hershey and Knoebels. Hershey Park in 2025 is going to blow up like crazy because of the backlash that Great Adventure has, at least that the company's been getting, because Great Adventure and King Ka. So how is that going to affect Dorney? Well, I don't think it's going to really affect Dorney that much. I think most people are going to end up going to Hershey Park primarily because they don't want anything to do with Six Flags Entertainment Corporation over the whole King Ka debacle. That's a conversation for another day. But Dorney's very weird. Again, the location is solid. Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's like right on the cusp of Jersey. It's like a half hour into Pennsylvania. So it's right there. I think because of that, it does work out well for those that are like doing trips on the East Coast that are coming from the West. They could just fly into like, I don't know, like Pittsburgh. You could do Kennywood, go over, do Hershey, drive over, do Dutch, drive over again, do Dorney, drive over, do Great Adventure, and then fly back. Like, I mean, it's very easy to do an East Coast sort of style trip. I'm going to keep it on the fence. Again, the main reason that it's in the on the fence category is the location of the property and how it intervenes. And the fact that Dorney is going to be all but have no involvement in terms of this coaster park battle between Hershey Park and essentially now Dorney and Great Adventure having to go against Hershey Park. We'll talk about Great Adventure at the end because that's definitely where a lot of people are going to have their thoughts. Darien Lake, I'm going to actually put in the very likely category. This is another property that Six Flags had bought after they had sold it again. So I'm going to stick to my gut and say that Darien Lake could very easily get sold yet again. Canada's Wonderland is opening Alpine Fury. I'm not worried about Canada's Wonderland. They're going to be just fine. One of the other cash cows of the Legacy Cedar Fair Company. One of the most visited parks in the entirety of North America. You don't want Canada's Wonderland to go anywhere. They're going to continue to get investment up the wazoo. Trust me there. The fact that they're getting so creative with layouts and just squeezing these rides in, they're basically making a Magic Mountain in the north. That's what Canada's Wonderland is. So I'm looking forward to how Alpine Fury goes because that's going to be very interesting. Six Flags America. Now, here's my thing with Six Flags America. The location is so good. It's basically located like, what, 20 minutes from Washington, D.C.? It's right there. So it's in a really good location. But the problem also fits into the fact that it is located near Washington, D.C. The whole entire area is expensive as heck to maintain. Right? Their water park has been a constant saving grace for them. Most of the people go to Six Flags America to go into their Hurricane Harbor. Not a lot of people go into their dry park. And the fact that Batwing is probably going to get demolished, whatever these new trains on Superman end up being, if that's even what it is, and then all the stuff with the new steampunk area, which looks pretty nice, might I add. I really like what they did with that. But I still don't feel like it's enough. I'm gonna put it in very likely. I could see them selling Six Flags America. I could. That could seem like a crazy take, but not many people are dedicated to going out to this park, and it's unfortunate. Six Flags America also is going to need either another looping coaster or they're going to need another standout attraction if Batwing goes. So how do you go about that? So that's kind of the next big thing. I don't think they really have any plans with this park. La Ronde is another weird one because, one, even though it's in Canada, it also gets the crowds. But also, I also feel like they don't care about this park. Like, this park was going to get Green Lantern from Six Flags Magic Mountain, and then they realized it was a bad idea and they canceled it. So La Ronde never got that roller coaster. When Monster has been temperamental, and surprised that one hasn't been Armsy converted. I don't know what's going on with their other rides. I don't think they care about it. I don't think they care about it enough. And I hate to do that too, because La Ronde is... I feel so bad for La Ronde. Like, it's a park that deserves way better than what it gets. Even though they're super landlocked, and the fact that they have to deal with the lake and a absolutely kind of mental sounding fireworks show, that seems pretty cool. But the park itself, I mean, that it's slowly turning into a wasteland. Six Flags New England, right on the cusp of Massachusetts, another very interesting park. I really think that New England is technically safe. They did get a roller coaster at their opening in 2025. I'm going to keep it in on the fence. And the reason I'm putting New England in on the fence is for a few reasons. Number one is that it's taken them so long just to get new investment. So it took them... Their last big roller coaster that was like a ground up... if you want to include it, it was Wicked Cyclone. Okay? Then they eventually got Goliath new trains. And then they basically had a Vekoma boomerang battle between Flashback and Goliath, which was kind of hysterical that you just have two boomerangs right next to each other. That's called a stupid decision, by the way. They got rid of Goliath because nobody liked the new trains. Thanks a lot, Premiere. Hope Alpine Fury goes well. And then they have Goliath's replacement be Quantum Accelerator, which actually low-key looks like a really good roller coaster, which I think is going to do very well for New England. My issue with New England and why I'm putting it in the on the fence category is because of overall attendance. I don't think it gets enough. I don't think it gets enough attendance. And it's not really in a great spot to where it can benefit from that. So they've got a lot of work to do, and I think Quantum Accelerator is once again going to help them out a lot because that left side of the park by Wicked Cyclone desperately needs some help. I think Flashback could be the next thing to go. They could do another roller coaster. I think Quantum Accelerator is a great launch coaster to add to the park, but they definitely need another standout launch coaster because that's what they're lacking right now. They have 9 coasters. They could definitely get 10, but New England is best described as like the better Six Flags America in all the ways. Great Escape, if Darien Lake goes, Great Escape is staying, but man, they need some investment. I'm going to keep it in on the fence right now. The whole resort idea really helps Great Escape, but they need some investment. They have the land to do it, by the way, too. Great Escape has the land, and they're willing to spend the money. They got Bobcat, which could be the best roller coaster in that park. Okay? Get Great Escape some investment, and I'm sure people will go and spend more time there. I know they're more geared towards the families, and you know what? That's totally fine. If that's the direction they want to take Great Escape, I'm not going to stop them. You do you. That's totally fine. Okay. Now let's talk about Great Adventure. So, today is March 1st. Kingda Ka was imploded yesterday. Where do I see Great Adventure? Now, most of you will watch this video, and most likely throw it in the very likely it's going to get sold off tier. Let me tell you right now, they would be stupid not to do that. Let's talk about the good of this. All right. First off, Great Adventure probably has one of, if not the best locations for a theme park in the chain. It is located in the heart of New Jersey. So basically, wherever you live, it's at most about an hour and a half drive. From the very edge of New Jersey, on either side, it's at most maybe a half hour, 2 hour drive. Okay? If you live in Philly, Great Adventure is about a 45 to an hour drive. If you're coming from New York, it's about another 45 to an hour drive. Great Adventure has one of the best locations for a theme park in this chain. No matter what is in this park, they are going to get the attendance, especially during Fright Fest, especially during Holiday in the Park. They will get the attendance. They will. And even though I see attendance going down for 2025, no matter what they get in 2026, we know they're getting a crazy launch coaster in 2026 that's going on Kingda Ka's plot of land. Whatever that might be, I don't care if it's the spinner, I don't care if it's a blitz, I don't care if it's a premier ride. It's going to be a ludicrous ride. It's going to draw those people back, and Great Adventure will be just fine. And to make matters even more interesting, they are rumored to get another roller coaster in 2027. They have big plans for this park. And most people that I've talked to, or especially in the comments section and seeing some comments in other people's videos, they don't realize that this park has been not only a constant cash cow for the legacy Six Flags chain, but has been one of the most highly attended parks throughout its time. It is history, and I'm not trying to boast it even more because it's my home park. What I'm basically trying to tell you is that this is safe. They would be stupid not to put investment into this park. They're gonna pump investment into this park. Much like they're gonna pump investment into Canada's Wonderland, pump investment into Carowinds, pump investment into Cedar Point. They are treating Great Adventure like it is a top tier park. Sure, you can make the argument right now that they are not doing a good job with that. Hey, that's fine. Give them the time. Come back to me in 5 years. Come back to this video in 5 years. In 2030, on March 1st exactly, come back to me and comment on this video in 5 years' time. When Great Adventure has been like 2 or 3 new coasters within that 5-year span, including Flash, and see where we're at. Because right now, Great Adventure is in a rebuilding phase because they haven't really done much with their rides. So they're cleaning house and they're starting fresh again. That's totally fine. It's been long overdue. They've needed to do that to this park. It's been needing that. So I'm very curious to see what happens, but there's not a doubt in my mind that, for starters, they don't just implode Kingda Ka without having a real reason besides we're just going to blow it up, it's not reliable. They clearly have a plan for what's going to replace Kingda Ka. So this is the easiest safe in the world. So say what you want, but this is where I have my tier list for what parks I think may or may not get sold off from the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation chain. Let me know what you guys think of this list. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and always thank your ride operators. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the parks very soon. Goodbye.
Here we go.
Farmstead, take back. Farmstead, take back.
Here we go.
Farmstead, take back. Farmstead, take back.
Here we go.
Farmstead, take back. Farmstead, take back.
Here we